Hi. So I was thinking, since we've already made a couple videos on 3D printing, maybe we should take a quick look into the other side, so into 3D modeling as well. I know many of you probably are or have been scared of 3D modeling in the beginning, me included, but trust me, it's not as difficult or scary as you might think in the beginning. Also, it's really rewarding to create something on your screen and then print it out, and then that thing has an actual use case in your everyday life. So without further ado, let's hop into CAD and take a quick look and hopefully make you into a professional 3D designer by the end of the video. Well, maybe not, but at least you should know the basics. So this is FreeCAD, and as the name suggests, FreeCAD is a free CAD software that you can, for example, use to create your 3D models with. Even though it's free, it can do most of the things that any other paid version of a CAD software can do, which makes it a great program to get started with and maybe even keep on using even if you are a professional. When you first launch FreeCAD, this is the startup page that you can use to access either examples, recent files, or create new files. Because we want to design a 3D model that we can then print, we want to create a new file for a parametric part. You can also create new files from this top left menu, File, and then click on New. But since we are creating a parametric part, we can just click on this. And now we enter the part design workbench. Inside we have a body, and we also have the coordinate system for that body. To hide objects or show them, we can click on the eye icon, or we can toggle visibility by right-clicking and clicking on this toggle visibility, or we can select it and press space. And in the heart of everything is the coordinate system. Now, to visualize this, you can imagine this XZ plane could, for example, be your monitor. And this XY plane could, for example, be your table. And then YZ plane could, for example, be the side profile for your monitor and your table. And what you will be doing is you basically select a plane or a face and then draw a 2D image on that, and then either remove or add material to create whatever you want to create. Now, before we get into designing, let's first take a look in the bottom right corner here. This is where you find your navigation style menu, and if you have used any other CAD software, you can select the navigation style that you're familiar with, but for me, I've found that this Blender navigation style is the easiest to use. If you want to see which button does what, you can hover your mouse over the navigation style menu, and you can see that you select with left click, zoom with scroll, rotate by holding down the scroll wheel and moving your mouse, and then pan with either shift and mouse wheel or left and right click and then moving your mouse. So you can zoom in, you can pan, you can rotate, and also if you want to center your screen on a specific point, you can put your mouse there and then click with the scroll wheel. You can also use this cube on the top right corner to see different views of the object, and this is going to be a little bit easier if you need a specific view. Okay, so how do we actually create something? For the first design, let's just make a simple box and a lid. We start by selecting what we want to draw on, and for now we want to select the XY plane and then start drawing on it. To draw on this, we want to click on here to create a sketch. Now we are in the Sketcher workbench, and here we can select different drawing tools and draw different objects. But since we are making a box, we want to select a rectangle. When you select rectangle, you have a couple different options. Either you can draw the rectangle from corner to corner, from center to corner, or you can have the corners rounded by default. You can also select rounded corners here, or if you want to create walls already, you can select frame. But for now, let's just work with the basic rectangle and create the first sketch. So when we click and we move our mouse, we can see that there's different numbers when we move the box. We can either dimension them by trying to find the right spot. So for example, we want a 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters box. We can try to find 100 millimeters, or we can just simply type 100 and press enter to lock in 100 millimeters this way. And then we are now adjusting this other dimension that we can do the same for. So 100 millimeters and enter. And now we have a 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters square. Now, if you accidentally either delete this or you just freehand a box, you can also dimension these by clicking on the side that you want to dimension, and then right clicking and then clicking on dimension and dimension. This gives you this ruler that you can click on if it's the right measurement that you want to dimension, and then select the length that you want to assign that side. There's also a quick button for most of the tools, so if I want to dimension this, I can click on it and just simply press D. Now I can again lock it to 100 millimeters. So now that we have the box dimensioned, the only thing is we can move it. And you can also see we have a under constraint message or error here. This can be a problem because if you accidentally, for example, move this or you want to redimension it, you can mess up the whole design later on. So how to avoid that is by locking this box in place. And we can do that by, for example, clicking on this corner and tying that corner in the center of the coordinate system. So you select this corner, the origin, and then click on constrain coincident. Now you can see that the sketch turns green and I cannot move the rectangle even if I try. If we undo that and we have again the box moving. Now if we want to, for example, center this rectangle, we can also just dimension it with the dimension tool. So since it's 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters box, we just dimension it 50 millimeters this way and 50 millimeters this way. This way it's already centered. There are other tools such as symmetric, equal, parallel, perpendicular, and so on and so forth. But you can use whichever tool fits your need for that specific part. But now that we have the box green, so it's fully constrained, we can close the sketch. And now you can see that the sketch is right here on the XY plane. To make this sketch into a 3D object, we can use the pad tool. This pad is basically the same as extrude in some other programs. But when we give this a click, you can see that this box is now 3-dimensional. We can adjust the height of the extrusion by either changing this number with our numpad, or we can use the scroll wheel to make it whatever height we want. But since we said we want a 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters cube, we can just type 100 millimeters and then press enter. Now we have a 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters cube, and we can hide the coordinate system for now. And of course, since we are making a box, we need to hollow this out. There are a couple ways to hollow out parts, but first way is the pocket operation. This pocket operation, along with the pad operation, they're the most used tools for when you're designing your 3D models. To use the pocket operation, we cannot just click on the face we want to create the hole in, because if we do, as you can see, it starts taking off material from the whole face. This means we need to create another sketch. So if we want the hollow part to be on the top here, we can click on this top side, then again create a sketch. Now we can see the top view of the box, and we can create another rectangle. And for now, let's just use a centered rectangle so we can immediately constrain it to the origin. We click on the center and drag close to where we want it. And if we want, let's say 5mm walls, we can do 90 by 90. And now that we constrained the dimensions and we constrained the center in the origin, this sketch is fully constrained. And all we have to do is have the sketch selected and use the pocket operation. Then, since we know that we want 5mm walls, we can pocket 95mm, so we have 5mm on every wall. If you want another way of doing this, there is for simple objects a little bit easier way to do so, and it's the thickness operation. You can click on this thickness and then it hollows out the part that you clicked on. As you can see, the walls are very thin. If we want to change this, we can change the thickness here to, again, 5mm to create 5mm walls. So now we are back where we were just a second ago. So now we can create the lid, and since the lid is not going to be fused into the box, it's a separate object, we need to create a new body. But before we do that, we can rename this body to, let's say, box. And we can do that by right-clicking on the body and then giving a click on rename. Also, there's another way of renaming, and it's just F2. So you have to have the object selected and then click on F2 and you can rename it. And to confirm, you just press enter. Now we want to create the lid. So let's create a new body by clicking on this create body. And we can immediately rename it to lid by having it selected and pressing F2. Now either we can have the box visible or we can hide it while we design the lid. This lid has a separate coordinate system, although since we didn't move the box, it's in the same place. But as you can see, the coordinate system now has 0, 0, 1 on each plane and axis. To create the lid, we again want to create a sketch on the XY plane. So we can click on this and then click create a sketch. And now we can use the centered rectangle again, make it the same size as the box, so 100mm by 100mm, and it's fully constrained. Now we can close the sketch, pad to, let's say, 10mm, give a click on OK. We can hide the coordinate system, then select the bottom side of the lid and create another sketch. And this is going to be the part that is going to grab the walls of the box. So we want to make this a little bit smaller than what the inside edges are. So let's say 89mm and 89mm. This is again fully constrained, so we can close this and pad to 10mm. Now, if we show the box, we can see that they are inside each other. And you can see it better if you want to toggle transparency. So you can click on the object and toggle transparency. Or you can click on the object and press first V and then T. And now we can see that the objects are inside each other. To move these, we can click on the lid, right click and transform. And you have this arrow style movement system that you can move the object in one axis direction at a time, or you can rotate it as you wish. Another way is by using placement, which gives you this menu that you can use to move the object in different axis directions. Since we want the lid to be higher, we want to use the Z axis, and since the box is 100mm tall, we can move the box 100mm to make it the right height. And as we can see here, when we zoom in, the lid is tiny bit smaller than the box, so you can actually insert the box inside. Now you have a lot of different tools that you can use to improve the design, such as chamfers and fillets, but you don't have to use them. But for example, if we want to chamfer an edge, we can just click on that and chamfer and selecting the size of the chamfer. Same with the fillet, you click on the side that you want the fillet to be on and then have the radius of the fillet. But for now, let's just leave it like this, since this is just an example. So the last thing you need to do is somehow move this model into your slicer. And how you do that is by exporting the parts. So all we need to do is click on the part that we want to export, click on File and Export, and then select the location and then save. And then we do the same with the other part, File, Export, and then we can rename it if we want and then save. And now we have the file saved. So we can open up our slicer and then import 3MF and then select the objects we want to import and then click on OK. And now we have these parts in our slicer and we can just slice it and send it to our printer. As you can see, this is not as difficult as it might seem at first. And with some practice and learning, you can create some quite complicated models. And if you want to learn more, there's also this channel called CAD Cam Lessons, and they have a lot of 3D modeling content that you can learn from whatever level you are. So yeah, I know this isn't the most complicated thing that you can model, but hopefully this inspired you to download and open up FreeCAD and try making something on your own. Once you understand the basics, you can keep on learning and improving little by little. And before you know it, you'll be designing stuff you never thought you could. That's one of my favorite things about 3D modeling. The possibilities are basically endless. If you can think of something, you can probably make it. Like I said, it's also super rewarding to create something on your screen, then move it to your printer, and then your printer makes it an actual physical object. So I'll leave a link to FreeCAD on the description below if you want to download it and give it a go. But anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for watching and we'll see you on the next one.